Welcome, everybody, to You Have a Purpose Foundation podcast. So, we are back with another episode, and today I have with me Councilman Joaquin Martinez from District I. I don't know, maybe we're being a little serious, maybe we're having some fun, but we've got somebody special on today. Councilman Joaquin Martinez on the show today from District I. How are you, Joaquin?
I'm doing well, Nushin. It's we'll make sure.
Oh, wait, and special guest filling in today are my co-hosts. I'm sorry, Nini. Nini's on today.
Hi, everyone.
It's a pleasure to be here with both of you all. I have to be a serious guy in my position, but I'll be honest. When you grow up in a family of 12, there's a lot of horse playing.
12.
So yeah, we'll make it fun as well.
Okay.
All
We'll make
right.
it fun.
Okay. So we're gonna get into it. So what we want to know is District I. What's your district and where's that at?
So it's 200,000 residents. It's most of downtown. It's the East End, East Downtown, where I grew up, born and raised, went to elementary, middle school, high school, and then the Hobby Airport where I currently live, which is, if you think about Hobby Airport, pretty much the neighborhoods that are north, south, east, and west, in between Makawa, 45. And then we go up to the northeast, if you're familiar with for high school, 610 and I-10. And we have some neighborhoods in that area. It's a really weird map. It's from Highway 90 and Greens Bayou all the way down to the Beltway and 45. It's cool. I think it's a cool district personally. I know it's a little biased, but I feel like wherever District I goes, that's where the city goes because we have the Hobby Airport, we have Port Houston, we have downtown, so the stadiums, the convention center, and then we have these neighborhoods that have celebrated 100 years, so they've been around for a long time. So it's really Houston wrapped up in one district. And again, maybe I'm just a little bit biased, but
that's what a lot of the councilmen say, right? But again, Houston is like that. Like you can go to different districts and it's got a little bit of everything in them.
Yeah.
And that is one of the beauties of Houston is that you can find everything, all culture in a lot of our districts. But how did you even get to be a councilman?
Oh my goodness.
We had to dig and go back.
Yeah.
So, long story made short, my basketball coach in middle school at Jackson, he was one of my mentors that just kept up with me. I recognize that there's always these role models that lean into you and see something in you that you probably didn't see in yourself. I graduated from Austin High School. That in '98, that summer, I ran into him in the park at Easton Little League. And he told my dad he wanted me to intern out of the office. And my dad was like, well, go ahead. You don't even have to pay him. And so he was the chief of staff for the District I council member, John Castillo, back then. Worked out of that office for 3 years. Ended up being that council member. Everybody is term limited, so you can only run for a certain amount of time. I ended up working for now what is called Baker Ripley. It used to be Neighborhood Centers, one of the oldest, largest nonprofits in the city of Houston. 3 years into working there, I realized that I needed to go back to City Hall because we were applying to the city of Houston for what you call CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, for after school funding. And so I was submitting information, and then those application was put together by our development department at Neighborhood Centers, then submitted to the city, and we received funding to provide after school funding. And at that point, that's where the dots connected. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back over there to City Hall and have an opportunity to be able to support not just nonprofits like Neighborhood Centers, but quite frankly, nonprofits that impacted my life. And then just in general, the community, because I just felt like I knew what City Hall could do for folks. So.
Well, I'm leaving it to Nini.
I was going to say, so I think that is really important for people to be aware as now that you went back, right, to the city as a councilman, what is it how can you support, right?
Yeah.
What are kind of the buckets of support for the community, for your constituents?
Yeah, Nini, it ranges. Honestly, I'll get Facebook messages, Instagram direct messages from folks, and it can really be from the core services, like my trash didn't get picked up. Like, okay, I need you to help me with that.
Yeah.
Or it could be as difficult as they broke into my small business. They're Spanish speaking and they don't know what HPD division to call, and so then connecting them to resources. It could be support with their home. Sometimes we get calls from seniors that unfortunately their house are they they don't see the maintenance that they should see. And then we start looking at larger organizations where, for example, I think for me, when we're able to partner with like anything from like Trees for Houston or New Hope Housing, then we're able to really kind of provide that resource, whether it's city dollars, whether it's
Mhm.
federal dollars that we
Yeah.
receive, ultimately focused on housing, affordability, public safety, make sure parks are nice for everybody.
Yep.
So there's a lot of buckets that we touch. I can really spend all day.
Economic
What's the
opportunity.
fun?
Yeah, yeah.
The most fun you have when you're as a councilman?
Um,
Because it can't be about the trash calls.
the trash cause. So it's not the sexiest thing, right, at City Hall, but I know how important it is, and if my team and I can solve this trash issue, or we're not picking up trash,
Yeah.
this is basic service. I feel like we've actually done something good. But the fun stuff that I enjoy, yesterday, my old high school, Austin High School, they had a group of about 25 kids, young adults. Let me
Mhm.
say that. Take it back. Young adults that came in and they took a tour of City Hall. They had some conversation with folks at the city, just to kind of welcome them to City Hall, where, quite frankly, they actually, I think most of them, if not all of them, have never been at City Hall.
Mhm.
And if y'all haven't been there, if you know, it's almost kind of like you pause and you're like, man, this is where things happen. This is where
Mhm.
quote unquote important people are. And so it just
Mhm.
brings you this kind of feeling of, wow. Well, when I was able to just speak to them and uh just pull the curtains back and give them a sense of like where they belong, who they are. Did I expect to be a city council member, family of 12, 9 of us in a one bedroom apartment at one point, not including my mom and my dad. I also felt like, oh, maybe I don't belong here, right? There's a
Yeah.
kind of a imposter syndrome. Well, my hope is that I can help break some of those things for those young kids, and so I love it. I think I go to schools a lot more than I definitely go a lot more than my predecessor or other counselors that I probably have seen.
Mhm.
But that's where I have an affinity to make sure that young kids have an opportunity
That's
to see a
awesome.
pathway.
That's awesome.
Jen, so this is going to be a cutout real quick. I totally you heard her said her opinion show, but I'll fix it at the end. Okay. Sorry guys. I said her opinion show and it's the nonprofit.
Okay.
But so a question that I have is because you come from the nonprofit and the grant world and all of that with Baker Ripley and all that stuff working with the city, for nonprofits in Houston and everybody trying to make a difference and really get things done, sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah.
But how can they get in touch with the city or work with the city or just start with their district
Yeah.
and get things done and, to help?
So I think right now everybody's feeling it. There's fundings that is being lost at the federal level, at the state level sometimes. If the city loses funding, then we lose that opportunity to be able to support as well. And that's just across the board right now, unfortunately. How a nonprofit can really uh, zero in, focus, and capitalize on support, whether it's financial support, whether it's leveraging work that you're doing with someone else. First and foremost, I think you can always call your elected official. If you're in District I, please call my office, 832-393-3011. Email us, districti at houstontx.gov. Uh, because of my background, I will do whatever I can to either, if it is the city that can provide financial support, then we will figure that out. Whether it's after school programs, we've done some stuff with Fit Houston where we're providing a fitness instructor at Mason Park. It's a nonprofit, so there's ways where we can tackle, especially if there are priorities within my team and my office. But then I think the other thing that's important is as a nonprofit, it's always important to come prepared, right? What is your budget look like?
Yeah.
What are the revenue sources that you're able to bring in? Whether it is
Yeah.
grants, whether it is private dollars, if it is public dollars, what does that look like? But then your expenditures as well, and without diving too deep into it, is
Mhm.
you know how are you spending your money? We know a lot of times administrative costs can kind of take a lot of the time, but it's important because you need to be able to report
Mm-hmm.
to get that information, make sure you're telling the story, and that takes a lot of
Yep.
behind kind of the back office work. But once you've kind of have been able to have a good slide deck, have a good presentation. Um, right now, like in District I, for us, where we find gaps, and I feel like the city just can't do this work. It's not our responsibility all the time because we get stretched in so many places. Anything that has to do with young folks,
Mm-hmm.
we have several parks with community centers that should be filled with nonprofit organizations doing work with young folks. We shouldn't be, as a city, paying funds to staff and operate something that, quite frankly, a nonprofit's already doing.
Hmm.
And if they're one of the big costs is usually facilities,
Yep.
right? And it's a public
Let them do
facility,
it.
let them do it, right?
Yeah.
So there's different ways where you can kind of plug and play at the end of the day.
I think it's interesting you mentioned the facilities costs. They are one of the top costs for nonprofits. So for those that are starting, like brand new nonprofits that, maybe a year or two in, they don't have a space.
Yeah.
How can they leverage some of the city space?
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about economic development as
Yes.
well. So there's opportunities where small businesses, I would say, whether it's a there's community events where they can come in, have forward facing opportunities, right, at some of our different facilities. But I think where it really comes in handy is where, like, on workforce development. So
Yeah.
we partner with Search Jobs as well. Um, they have one facility, but quite frankly, you have to meet people where they are. And so coming to our the Magnolia Multi Service Center, which is
Mm-hmm.
our only multi service center in District I, coming in there and having office space there
Yeah.
to be able to do some of satellite work.
Yeah.
It lowers that cost. You're meeting people where they are. You're providing this service that you can then document and then continue to
Yeah.
provide that story that you should tell for more funding, right?
Yep. Of course, yeah. And I think it's really important for people to think outside nonprofits to think outside the box. Why go rent a space when there's so many community centers,
Yeah.
all around the city that they have access to, and then you meet the constituents where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
the clients that they're looking for.
If I can share one more thing too, is as a nonprofit, sometimes we feel like we have to do everything, right? I'm neighborhood centers. I'm 100+ years old. I'm doing public charter schools. I'm doing senior services. I'm doing workforce development. I'm doing community development. I'm doing just you feel like
Domestic violence awareness now.
everything. Yeah, no, you're doing a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but I think it's okay to kind of take a few steps back and do some soul searching as an organization to say what am I doing? What do I do well?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I used to manage youth programs out of neighborhood centers. We used to have Ripley House, and then you had community family centers that had youth programs.
Hmm.
And some of the stuff that we were doing out of the program that I was managing, community family centers was trying to do. And it's like, let me just take your kids on this trip, a college trip and or a camping trip where
Yeah.
we already have funding through Texas Park and Wildlife. And then whenever we can't do certain things, you do that and then you capture it. And so what I'm really trying to get at is that leveraging resources with other
Yes.
nonprofits, because no one can do anything by
Nope.
themselves. And the more you try to, unfortunately, you fall flat
Yep.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that is right now, today, and how everything is going with funding, I think that is key. So being collaborative with others. So if this is where if your housing is your bread and butter, and we see the need, we're not gonna create a program. Let's come in and let's see how we can work together. Let's ask for funding together. And I think that's key right now. I toured a space in Nashville, and they have a community center. There was 5 nonprofits working out of that community center, and they all
Wow.
applied for federal funding, local funding, and private dollars, and now they have this really robust community center for the community. And so that is kind of the model that I think that here in Houston, since we're so large,
Yeah.
that's where we should head. We should have these collaborative spaces because there's so many nonprofits, and a lot of people want to start a nonprofit. Which, hey, I'm all about it, but let's
Right.
see who else is doing the work that
Yeah.
you're doing so that you can maybe go in and and work
And,
collaboratively
real
and
quick
look
to
for funding
piggyback
together.
off of that, Nini, I would say that from generations before, it's what we see a lot of is me, me, me.
Yeah, and
And
competing for
yes,
funding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and in this generation that we're seeing, the new generations, collaboration is key.
It is 100%.
It's so hard just to be in this economy and make it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give y'all an example, and this is now I'm gonna go off script
Go
because
ahead.
you're
This-
here, so
We
I'm
just
just
got
gonna
deep.
throw it
I'm
out
ready,
there.
I'm ready.
Going deep.
So, New York City is our competitor. So New York City has this really, really great website for small businesses. So anybody that is looking to start a business in New York City, they can go onto this website that is managed by the city, but it is a collaboration with private and public organizations where they have everything. So it's a one-stop shop website for
Mhm.
small business
resources.
entrepreneurship for New York City. And it is really robust. It's really great. And I say that's what we should be thinking about, especially, if we're thinking about nonprofit government entities, looking at something like that for our city. We are already a very robust,
Yeah.
our, small businesses here in Houston, as you know, is, where we get a lot of our support economically. So, that is where I see that innovation going. They can do it. We can certainly do it.
Yeah, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to plug in our Office of Business Opportunity.
Yeah.
So they are our division within the city of Houston that really leads a lot of these conversations. There's workshops. We are getting to a space where the private sector. How do we ensure that the private sector also has the capacity?
Of course.
There's an interesting number. It's $20 billion with the B that Houston is going to be basically have an opportunity for different projects, right?
Yeah.
And you have the LBJ hospital, which is currently in construction. You have 4559 expansion. And then those are big projects, right? But then you start looking at all these other, like, City of Houston has a lot of deferred maintenance, so roads that are bad.
Yeah.
Um, all these projects that are happening, um, it's almost impossible for the city of Houston to be able to have the capacity to have this kind of work. And so making sure that the private sector is aware of what we're doing,
Yep.
because at the end of the day, we're pulling from the same crop of workforce. And so that helps us really start, wanting to make sure that we're more strategic with them, from the government, local level side, but then also when you start seeing just the development that's happening naturally
Yeah.
around the city.
Yeah, and
So
there's development from the private sector going around all the surrounding Houston
too
area.
much.
It's a lot.
Too
It's
much
a lot.
sometimes.
It is
Well-
too
Some of y'all
much.
need to stay home.
Yeah, we always say we're full.
Give us
Wait,
about
we'll
5 years
start
of breathing
full,
room.
We just want to know when's the transit system coming, okay?
Oh, well, no. Oh, just-
I'm looking forward to more of those kind of conversations.
Of course.
This is what I think has been really important as a council member. Being able to work out of the office for 10 years prior to being a council member is that we have to be able to address the core foundation things of a city, right? So we've been these last 2 years almost roughly about $250 million deficit, which is crazy.
Yeah.
The years prior to, on average, about $150 million deficit. We can't, continue to run a city sustainably in a way where we know that we're not, the way we pay that off. Sometimes it's selling property, it's not hiring staff, which then gets bad services. And so the focus has been, Nushin, really has been, how do we take care of the finances?
Mhm.
Because you can't fix on broken, right? So these other things that, the way I like to kind of explain is, we're walking all the basic stuff, but the chewing gum, which is like the transit, right? How do we get that micromobility? How do we get that? How do you do tech and innovation here in the city of Houston and really, bring us out by here in Houston as well? That's the chewing gum, the things that we should be able to work towards eventually. But right now, the biggest focus is, these are hard conversations that we've been having in just the 2 years that I've been in office, is we have to fix our finances. But I am 100% on board with, if I can get from Hobby to downtown in 20 minutes,
yeah.
look, I'm good. I'm
20
ready.
minutes. You remember that
Well-
used to be a thing.
It used
Well,
to
now
be.
they have that the metro bus that goes from George R. Brown to Bush.
Yeah.
That's new. I saw that, and I was reading about that, and I thought that was really interesting. But let's see how that goes.
Well, it's been going pretty good.
They just started to do it.
I giggle a bit about it because my sister, she texts the family thread and she's like, "Hey, who wants to pick us up from IHA, and I'm like,
Get the
look,
bus.
there's a
There's
bus,
the bus.
and it's $475.
And they have the influencers on there,
There you
and
go.
they're like posting it. I'm like, this is interesting.
I'm like, jump on the bus. You'll make it to downtown. It's a
And
lot
record
easier.
some content
Yeah.
for me.
So it's like do work while you're on your way, and they
Wow.
show how comfortable it is. I was like, very interesting. But hey,
I've always stayed away from Bush just because I live close to the Hobby
Of
Airport, and
course,
so I
yeah.
try and fly out of there as much as possible. But there will be a time where I will take my luggage, go to the Georgia Brown, and take it to the airport. I will eventually.
all right.
So on a serious note, though, because we're on the nonprofit podcast, we'll have you on the other podcast after this, and won't be as serious. But Houston has something coming up that's going to be all over the world to see, and it's FIFA. And as a city, we know what comes with all these big events, and we saw this with Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We're a big trafficking city, so within that time or before, I don't know how long you guys work to prepare for this. Obviously, a long time, but what are you doing to help keep people safe?
So you really are making it serious now. Okay.
We're like, we want to
right.
know, like, what do we need to be doing? What to help our city, to look out for our city?
So what I first will say is that we've been years in planning. So even before I was a council member, when we went and submitted our bid to be one of the cities, we're one. Dallas is another, Kansas City is another, and then of course you have some in Canada, and of course in Mexico. I think Monterrey is one of them. When we submitted our bid, there's certain things that FIFA would look for, right? Do you have enough beds, right? Hotels. Can your city provide the right amount of public safety? And so all this is submitted initially into our bid. We're here now. We got our bid. Since then we've been actually fleshing out what these plans look like. So public safety is always, I think it's always going to be a priority no matter what, especially as you've seen in some of these other events. I think most recently in New Orleans, it's truck just those are real concerns. Those are real things that we should be mindful of. Because of that, we've had a central command that is all levels of public safety, law enforcement that have been meeting for a couple of years at least, running through different situations. Without saying too much, right? There's a lot of security that will be around, not just at the NRG, where we'll have 7 games, but in District I, in East Downtown, the Fan Fest. That's where I feel it's going to be the heaviest, really. What's anticipated is about 15,000 folks throughout the day, every day for almost 39 days. 39 days. So, is the city of Houston ready and prepared? I feel confident that they are. Are Houstonians ready and prepared? That's where there is some pause because we've never had anything of this magnitude. We talk about a Super Bowl, but they say it's 7 Super Bowls in one, and 7 Super Bowls in one. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to note that, and I've been saying this to a lot of our small businesses through the work that I do, is remember, the Fan Fest, but we live in one of the largest cities. We have the Woodlands, we have the lands, right?
Yeah.
As you know, we have other, the Loop, we have other pockets around the city. So think about the amount of people. Yeah, of course, the East End, that's going to be the biggest one, but people are going to come and they're going to stay all around, family and friends. There's going to be people that, I'm going to stay north, or I'm going to stay, like, it's so big. So there's going to be I don't think people are aware of the magnitude of people that are going to be here, because it's a whole month, and then people might use us as a hub and then fly out. You never know.
Let's not forget the ones that always come here and make a bad decision and don't realize where they stayed.
So
Look in the Woodlands, and they got to go all the way
because they're not going to find anything close. They're going to have to. Yeah.
So prepare.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a Houstonian, one thing we've already done, and we're anticipating doing a couple more. We've had a workshop with Airbnb.
Yeah.
If some of you don't want to be in Houston for some of those 39 days, it's okay.
Oh yeah, we already planned. We're putting my mom's house on Airbnb.
And honestly, like, it's an opportunity to kind of just stay away, because there will be folks from all around the world. We'll find out December 5th what teams will play, where they'll play. It's exciting. I think we're excited about everything that comes with it. Sales tax revenue that helps us out as a city.
Yeah.
Businesses, small businesses that are going to be able to reap the benefit of just folks, right? it being in the East downtown, to your point, there's going to be pockets. That's going to be where the heaviest, but there's going to be pockets. You, the city of Houston has these different small hubs throughout the city, right? And then depending on where the hotel stays are, there might be something activated in the hobby area. There might be something activated in the near north side or
Sugarland.
Washington corridor.
They're already official.
Sugarland.
Yeah.
Sugarlands
Yeah,
has
yeah,
something going on over
yeah.
there. By the way, Sugarland's supposed to be getting a transit center. I mean a transit transportation.
They are. So I sit on I do. I feel like
Everywhere.
I feel like I do too much. So I sit on the Houston Galveston Area Council, the Transportation Policy Council, and we are having those conversations. So we get to talk with the 13 county region
Yep.
from county judges, county commissioners, city council members, mayors, and really. So and I share this because as we're talking about how we coordinate FIFA, I think it's important for just the larger community to know that even in outside of these large events, there are systems where we are coordinating. We're trying to do our best to make sure that transportation's, how people get in and out. Where is it that we see development, and what does that look like? Is it affordable? So, yeah, there's a lot that goes on. I'm just glad I can chill and hang out and not have to worry about those bridges for right now.
Not too long.
Not too
Not too
long.
long. You got to go back to it. But yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is safety. I think for Houstonians is how to stay safe. If you want to avoid it, like stay in your suburbs. But like my suburb is, a host, so they're going to be doing things. And then also too, just what do you say for like people in the crowds, people actually like for you coming out and saying, "Hey, this is what's going to happen and this is what I suggest to everybody."
Yeah, for regular Houstonians, I think it's a great opportunity to definitely. We're already a very diverse city, but to have folks from across the world come in, I think what we've always been known as is this welcoming city. I think to be able to experience that with folks from all over the world, I think it's good to come to the fan fest and be there and be a an ambassador on behalf of the city.
Yep.
Bring who we are as Houstonians, somebody that will always be welcoming, somebody that is looking out and inviting. There's a whole bunch of activities that will happen. But on that same note, I think to your point, Nation, is like be aware, right? Unfortunately, things that are out of our control. There's international politics that are going on that we hope don't spill over, but we know that there's always an opportunity for some folks to use these types of events to do something different, right? Or be political or whatnot. And just, I think at the end of the day, know that this is as a father, right? And a husband, like there's families around. As a Houstonian, come in, be a great ambassador, enjoy this event that we are blessed to have. Be cognizant of public safety, know that Houston is prepared on that front, and we'll have the full support of these different law enforcement agencies to make sure that folks are safe.
And watch your kids, keep your kids
Watch your
tight.
kids, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also too with that, with all this going on, it wouldn't be right if we didn't touch on all the people that are going to be renting cars and be on our highways and
So
freeways.
so I was gonna actually that was a question I was gonna ask you. So what do you suggest for those Houstonians that are gonna go? There's a lot of people signed up from Houston to volunteer. The people that are gonna go and enjoy suggestions on how to get to the East End so that they don't have to. Traffic is gonna be great, and so
I hear you're picking up people, giving them rides.
So you can call my no, I'm kidding. Don't call my office for any
You're gonna
rides.
pick us up in the Mercedes Sprinter van.
We were ready to go. No, honestly, like as a Houstonian, I know we're very car centric, but step outside of your comfort zone and jump on a bus. Alleviate the heaviness of traffic that we already feel today. Some folks in the East End, right outside of East Downtown, ride your bike. There's gonna be a bike parking lot for folks here by the Fan Fest. For folks that might live outside of the city of Houston, just know that you can come and meet somebody at their home inside of the city, and then from there carpool,
Got it.
ride share. there's all modes of transportation that we need to take advantage of.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that, the city is working hard to prepare for this, and it was amazing having you on. I just wanted to also share that you are also part of the advisory board for You Have a Purpose Foundation. I appreciate you. I threw him on.
Another thing to get done. No, but I thank you for reaching out. I say this very you know organically usually, and it just comes out because even in this position, I know that there's a finite amount of time that I have, and then I recognize my life. Right, there's a finite amount of time in my life. I'm not taking anything with me,
Mhm.
and so it's important to just kind of leave it all out there, and do whatever you can when you have the resources, the platform, the capacity, and so however I could be of help.
And we appreciate you
Yeah,
for
we
that.
appreciate
We
you.
do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for so much for being on here today, and we'll see you obviously soon, and
Yes.
you'll be seeing his face more on the nonprofit side.
Ready to go.
So District I, Joaquin Martinez, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.